this time. There's one that's cut on and missed. Ohtani, who threw 31 pitches.
Hustler takes off. Rizzo in the air, deep left, home run.
Very nice. Didn't spill a drop.
Pitch is bounced over the head of Rizzo. Backing up on the play. Bias, throw to first. He got him. What a play.
Looking for a 1-2-3 first. And he should have it. With a roller to Donovan Solano. 11 pitches for Kershaw in his first inning.
Hey everyone, welcome to 1225 Live. I'm Alexa Datt. We got a big show for you today on this Monday. Logan Morrison finds a new home with the Twins, but is Minnesota done adding to their team before the 2018 season? Richard Justice stops by to answer that. J.D. Martinez is officially introduced to his new team there. The Red Sox held a press conference, and J.D. Martinez had some very interesting things to say about winning in Boston. We will share those quotes with you in just a little bit. Plus, we're going to head to Tempe, Arizona. Maria Guardado will fill us in on Shohei Ohtani's batting debut today. We've seen him do a lot of great things during batting practice, but will that power transfer over to live game action? We will figure that out today. But we start today the way that we do almost every day here on the show with Danny Wexelman, who is down in Miami for a very secret shoot. Actually, should I say Tanny Wexelman? Is that how I should introduce you now? Because you've gotten a tan as you've been down there in Florida for what feels like forever. Danny, we miss you.
I miss you guys too. I am tan. I'm also burnt, so I need to buy some aloe. There's no question about that. And you guys, we have a huge show today, so I'm going to get right to it. First, Lex, I didn't get to talk to you on Friday, and I just wanted to tell everybody congratulations on our 1-year anniversary of 1225 Live. You are a rock star, and you bring your A game every single day and inspire me to do the same. But I need to thank everyone who makes us look good and sound good. Our producer TJ, our APs Marissa, Matthew, Rena, and Michael, and then the entire studio crew who also makes us look good, and of course our CPs Walter and Lundy. So I just wanted to tell you congratulations because it's been a year and I feel like we've come so far.
Yeah, Danny, thanks. Congrats to you too. It's been an awesome ride and we got a lot more to come. All right, let's start with our spring training photo of the day, Danny, which I'm really excited to show you. I don't know if you've seen this, but the Seager brothers squared off in Arizona this weekend, Corey and Kyle, and they hung out pregame when the Dodgers and Mariners met. This was pretty cool because it was the first time that they had ever faced off, and Kyle's daughter rocked a really cool custom shirt. If you zoom in on the shirt, you can basically see that she's supporting both her dad and her uncle, so she's not picking favorites in this photo, which is my favorite part about it. And she's getting a little kiss from her uncle. She's having her dad tell her a secret there, so I thought that was pretty sweet.
We do these a lot more often now, Lex, and this photo, literally my heart was like bursting when I saw it. The cuteness is overwhelming, and it's the best photo of the weekend, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, by the way, if anyone has spring training photos out there that you have taken while you've been around spring training, make sure you send them to us. We'll share them here on the show. But we want to share with you our weekend MVPs, somebody that we think had a pretty breakout performance that's going to have an impact on the season, Danny. So I'll let you start. Who was your MVP from the season? Excuse me, the weekend.
Okay, from the weekend, I'm going to go with a more traditional route because everyone has been waiting with bated breath for Shohei Ohtani. And finally, we get to see this guy in action. And not only that, we get to see his first strikeout. And the victim is Mr. Nate Orf on a 2-2 pitch. And the guy stood no chance, Lex, just no chance at all. I kind of felt bad for him, but that's just a little sneak preview of what we're going to see. But with the leather comes the lumber. And as you mentioned, he's making his spring debut today at DH. And Mike Trout was watching him take hacks during spring training, during practice. Everyone is going to be waiting. They're facing San Diego today. Jordan Lyles. He could hit a bomb off Jordan Lyles, and I think he could break the internet today. But from the weekend, Shohei Ohtani, he dominated for me. Who do you got?
Yeah, we're going to talk to Maria Guardado in just a little bit about what to expect from Ohtani later today. But one of my favorite parts about spring training, Danny, is the in-game interviews, because spring training is basically like practice. And you have all these guys who are just really loose and relaxed, and when you put a microphone in front of their face, they will say anything almost, and it's pretty crazy. So my MVP from the weekend was Joey Votto, not so much for what he did, but for what he said.
What about this gym day idea? Jeez. I knew you had underlying reason you wanted to talk here.
So I was thinking about Jim doing a segment, Jim Day, G-Y-M, Day, with Jim Day, J-I-M, Day.
As I suck in my gut.
I was thinking of my man right here throwing on a tank, coming in the gym with a different player each segment, doing some exercises, seeing how we get ready for the game. And I was thinking of being the first one. You exercise, right? You get in the gym sometimes.
I walk.
You walk?
That's not exercise to a professional athlete. But nowadays, at my age, I walk.
Well,
on treadmill.
You and I have something in common. They pay me to walk.
That's very good.
Danny, that was amazing. It was so cool to see him just kind of off the cuff doing improv comedy there, the two of them. And it was so funny to me when Jim just fires back, like, as I suck in my gut here. So I thought that was awesome. By the way, that's where we're going for our question of the day. If you could have a Jim day with one baseball player, who would it be and why? Danny, we're going to let you kick this off. What's your answer?
Yes, okay. Also, just to mention, I think that Votto was like about to be up at bat. I think he was like getting his things and he's like, hey, I'm going to do an interview with Jim Day real quick before I go hit a baseball. But for me, I'm going to say that Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa video that we showed earlier this year during the offseason of them working out and pulling each other. I'm going to work out with those guys. You know you're going to have fun and you know that you're going to get the best workout of your life in. So that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm definitely working out with Bartolo Colon because I don't know what the workout's going to be, but I know that the post-workout meal is going to be pretty amazing. So that's really all I'm looking forward to. The other thing, Danny, we saw this weekend was Pat Neshek, who's getting in a little bit of family time before he has to head into the season. And he was hanging out with his 3-year-old son, and he was doing some pitching to him. And he learned the hard way that the L screen isn't just for major leaguers.
Oh, I got that one.
Yeah, when I hit him in the
The best is the kid knew exactly what he did, exactly that it landed like right near his dad's family jewels, and he's smiling about it. He's like celebrating where this ball landed. So I thought that was pretty funny. And Josh Donaldson and Pat Neshek had some fun on Twitter after this. Josh was basically like, you should be used to this by now. And Pat was like, yeah, basically, I know. They keep paying me to come back. So I thought that was pretty classic. We need to see more of these videos, and especially of 3-year-olds taking hacks. I love it.
Oh my gosh, Lex, I was dying watching this video. And the best part, too, is their interaction between Donaldson and Axford. Axford's like, hey, man, actually, I have this photo of you because, you know, Axford collects cards and gets things signed. He's like, I still need you to sign this. Can you do me that favor? So to add insult to injury, not only does he get hit in the family jewels, then he has to ask Donaldson, his new teammate, to sign this photo with him when he was with the Cardinals. And Donaldson's like, I don't usually do this, but for you, man, I'll do it. So hopefully that eased his pain a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully the Neshek family can take it easy now as they get started into the season. All right, Danny, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your secret shoot down there in Miami. Can't wait to see what you're working on, and hopefully we'll see that sooner rather than later, and we'll see you back here in the studios at the end of the week.
Yes, opening day. Check it out. Get ready for it. It's going to be awesome. And Lex, I will see you tomorrow.
All right, take care. Thanks, Danny. All right, J.D. Martinez finally signs his 5-year, $110 million deal with the Red Sox, and he had an introductory press conference today where he spoke about battling in a very competitive AL East. Take a listen.
No, I just want to thank, Dave and Scott and, the Red Sox organization for having me. It's been a long process, and, I'm happy to put everything behind me and be here today, and I can finally go out and just play baseball. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the task at hand. I know this, historic franchise and this organization, and, winning is number one, and bringing a championship back to Boston is the ultimate goal, and I'm happy to now be a part of it.
We're going to get some help from our executive correspondent, Richard Justice, to break all of this down. Richard, thanks so much for joining us. You are in Glendale, Arizona. We'll talk about the White Sox in just a little bit, but I want to ask you about a couple of things that Martinez said today. He said part of the deal is playing outfield and that he's going to DH, quote unquote, at times. How do you think that's going to work out?
Well, that wouldn't be what I expected. I'm sure at the end of the day that was part of the negotiations because they have a really good defensive outfield. You know, maybe he's going to play for left field for Andrew Benintendi. But that's not what I expected. But, you know, I think you and I talked about this before. A guy that's been a position player his whole career, it's hard that the adjustment to DHing full time is very difficult. And you don't, frankly, you don't feel like you're part of the team. But look, the reason they got him is to hit in the middle of the order, to hit home runs. They didn't hit a lot of home runs last year. That's his job, to hit the ball over the fence. I mean, the American League East looks like it's a razor-thin race, and this is a good day for those people who like the Boston Red Sox.
Richard, Hanley Ramirez told the Boston Globe, now we're going to step on everybody's neck after the J.D. Martinez signing. What are your thoughts on those comments?
I would say take a deep breath, Hanley. It is interesting, though. You know, Fangraphs has the Red Sox winning the division by a game. Pacoda has the Yankees winning by 6 or 7 games, something like that. And that's when it's fun. You know, when the Yankees and Red Sox are both good, when they both have worked up a good hatred for each other, that's good for all of us. That's good for baseball. So let's hope it goes right down to the end of September and they're still punching and counter punching. But, you know, as far as stepping on everybody's neck, they're going to step on a lot of necks. I'm just not sure how many Yankee necks they're going to step on.
Yeah, that'll be a fun battle between those two teams there in the division. All right, another signing we saw this weekend is LoMo to the Twins on a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. Richard, do you think the Twins are done adding? What more do they have to do in order to be competitive in that division?
You know, as Anthony Castrovince suggested, go sign one more pitcher. You know, you've had a great offseason. You got Anibal Sanchez who, on a comeback. You're hoping Jake Odorizzi will be better. You're hoping Irvin Santana can get better. You're not going to catch the Cleveland Indians. This is about going to the wild card game. And the thing is, the signing of Logan Morrison is an indication that every general manager, and I've had some tell me this, every general manager is going back and looking at his roster again. You know, Logan Morrison wasn't the guy they set out to get, but they saw that he was affordable. He was an upgrade at DH for them. And so why not? And I think this is not going to be the end of this, of teams going back and revisiting the free agent market because there are bargains out there. But if I were the Twins, I would still go visit that Lance Lynn, Alex Cobb, Jake Arrieta market because one more starting pitcher never hurts.
Okay, but the thing is, though, and I do agree with you that this is more of a wild card team, but they did add in the offseason with Fernando Rodney and Addison Reed, and the Indians, the teams they're chasing, even though there was a large gap last season, lost a lot of guys. So how much closer do you think this division could be this year? Well,
what was it last year, 17 games?
Yeah.
It still might be 10. I don't know. Cleveland's pitching is so good, and the bullpen is so good that's a difference maker. And, you know, if you were to draft players off the two teams, the position players on each side are comparable. But when you have Corey Kluber and you have Bauer and those guys at the front of your rotation, you have Cody Allen at the back of the bullpen and Andrew Miller. You're really good. You don't have any questions there. You know, all the questions about the Twins will deal with the pitching. And look, there's an unknown quantity with the Twins. I mean, if Byron Buxton played the way he did in the second half of the season, he literally is a guy that can change the pennant race. But still, on opening day, I'm going to take the Indians in probably by 5, 6, or 7 games. But I hope it's a great race.
All right, sounds good. Now that spring training is fully underway, we still got a couple of guys looking for homes, mainly Moustakas and Arrieta. How long are these guys going to hold out before they find homes?
Well, you know, I think Arrieta's just down to making a decision. I still believe until he doesn't sign with the Washington Nationals, I still believe he's going to sign with the Washington Nationals. But the Phillies have been pretty aggressive about that. You know, and that it just comes down what Jake is negotiating now. What Scott Boras is negotiating his years and dollars. But the market for him is really healthy. Moustakas, I don't know. It may end up being a 1-year contract. Somewhere Atlanta makes the most sense on a long-term deal. He's exactly the kind of veteran guy you want in your clubhouse. among all those young guys as you're trying to set an example. I guess the Yankees would make some sense. There's always seems to be one really, really good player that falls through the cracks. And I don't think any of the starting pitchers are going to fall through the cracks. And this offseason is Mike Moustakas.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I could see Arrieta to the Nationals, considering Scott Boras represents the majority of that team, so they could get that deal done pretty easily. The Mets are a couple games into spring, and they already have a multitude of injuries, man, Richard. And, this is the thing. We keep talking about if this Mets team is healthy this year, and that's the thing that this entire team hinges on is the health. And you look at the walking wounded, right? Tim Tebow, Dom Smith, Juan Lagares, and Jay Bruce, two guys who are expected to make the opening day roster. Mickey Callaway says he's not concerned. Should he be?
Oh, absolutely should be concerned, because with Dom Smith, the one thing, he's sort of reinvented his body this year. You want to get a young guy like that, you want to get him into camp and let him compete with Adrian Gonzalez for the job. In terms of Lagares, he needs to play. And the same thing, Jay Bruce, the concern would be there is plantar fasciitis. That can be a long-term deal if it's not taken care of. So, yeah, this is the time of year you want your team on the field. Now, and Mickey would say, yeah, but if you're going to have injuries, let's have them now. If you're the Mets, you're in a position, you're trying to put things together, and you have decisions to make on both Lagares and Smith. You want to make those decisions. In the case of Jay Bruce, there's no decision. I've covered enough guys with plantar fasciitis that it's an uncertain recovery, and different doctors tell you different things. You just want him to get him back on the field and make it by opening day.
Yeah, Richard, I remember covering Eli Manning when he had plantar fasciitis, and that is not an easy injury to get back on the field with. So we'll see how that plays out. Are you more interested in watching Noah Syndergaard or Justin Verlander in their spring training debuts today?
Well, watching Justin Verlander, we won't learn anything. In fact, if you watch him today, you'll probably go, whoa, he's having some trouble, because a veteran guy like that, you don't know what he's working on. Noah Syndergaard is still at a young part of the first stages of his career, and he's probably going to show how hard he can throw and all of that. Maybe not. Seems like a pretty mature kid, but I want to see Syndergaard. I want to see a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And with Justin Verlander, you only want to see him opening day, because that's when it matters. And before then, you don't know what stuff he's working on. He just wants to get his work in and get the heck out of there.
Yeah, his first spring there with the Astros, so it'll be cool to see a complete season of Justin Verlander there in Houston. You're going to have a front row seat, though, today to watch Michael Kopech and his spring debut with the White Sox, one of the top prospects there in the organization. This guy's fastball is pretty incredible. What does he need to do or still need to prove to this team to make it up to the big leagues this year?
Yeah, rebuilds are painful. You lose a lot of games, you trade a lot of good players, but this is the exciting part of it for the White Sox. They have 7 of our pipeline's top 100. I don't think any organization has more than 7, and they're bursting with talent. Michael Kopech is MLB Pipeline's number 10 overall, and number 2 pitcher, and the number 2 prospect in the White Sox organization, touches 100 miles an hour. And what they've told him was, you blew past every expectation last year. You got all the way to AA, and you have to throw a changeup. You've got a 90-mile-an-hour slider, a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, a fastball that sits at 97, 98. You got everything. There is not a better pitching prospect on the planet. But we're not bringing you to the big leagues until you show us that you can throw a changeup consistently to keep hitters a little bit off balance. He says he's worked on one. He's refined it. He feels good about it. So that's what he's going to show off today, is his changeup. And the White Sox plan to send him down to the minor leagues. But he would like to make the decision really uncomfortable for them. And I asked White Sox general manager Rick Hahn about that. He goes, oh, I hope he makes it really, really uncomfortable for us. But he's going to pitch in the big leagues at some point this year, and there'll be another brick in the wall toward this White Sox rebuilding. It's going to start to take on a lot of speed this year.
All right, sounds good. If you are interested in any more White Sox information, by the way, you can follow Richard on Twitter or any of his fantastic articles on MLB.com. Thanks, Richard. Enjoy the action today.
Thank you, Alexa.
All right, Jenny Finch, the 2-time Olympic medalist, hosted a really fantastic event at Major League Baseball's Compton Youth Academy, where she got to teach her skills to dozens of young women who look up to her. Here is MLB.com's Sandy Charles, who caught up with Jenny Finch in California.
Jenny Finch is a two-time Olympian, but these days her work goes beyond a podium finish. Today, she's helping young girls get one step closer to achieving their dreams. We're here in Compton, California at the Major League Baseball Youth Academy for the Jenny Finch Softball Clinic. I had a chance to catch up with her and a couple of her attendees.
This is the best part about who I am and what I get to do is just be able to give back to the next generation, empower them, encourage them, and yes, it's about the game, but it's so much more than that. And I just love the hunger and just the love of the game that just shines off the field.
What exactly did you learn today? What softball skills?
She taught us about our mental, like our mind, taught us that our mind is like the biggest thing in softball, because if you get down on yourself, you won't be able to play the game. And at the end of the day, it's a game, so have fun.
It was really big because I grew up watching her, like she's one of my idols. And I think taking in knowledge from her personally and in front of me was a really big part. It made me think more than just like watching videos.
It's so exciting to see how far we've come. Back in the day, the only way to stay in the game was to coach. And now, just with the professional league and everything from technology to nutrition to the academies across the country, there is so much opportunity within the game. And just, it's exciting to see, too, the past players that now have the opportunity and are pouring into the next generation and sharing what they've learned that we all wish we knew earlier in age now to them.
What a fantastic event. Big thanks to Sandy for bringing us that information and Jenny for hosting that event. All right, our question of the day takes us to basically asking you if you could have a gym day based on Joey Votto's in-game interview with Jim Day this past weekend with one baseball player. A gym day with a baseball player. Who are you going with? Hop on over to Facebook and answer that question, and we will share those answers with you a little bit later on the show. All right, time for us to head back to Arizona, talking a little bit more Cactus League today as we welcome in Maria Guardado. We're going to talk a little Shohei Ohtani, because that is the name on everyone's mind, who made his spring training debut on the mound this weekend, Maria, and you wrote about it. And the headline of your article called his debut electric and erratic. So what was the overall consensus from his outing?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't perfect. You know, he gave up 2 runs, 1 unearned over 1 1/3 innings. Kind of struggled a little bit with his command occasionally, but he showed some, really impressive stuff. His fastball kind of sat mid-90s, topped out at 97. Some of his secondary pitches were quite nasty. He had a really nice curveball and a good splitter, but he said afterward that he wasn't really happy with his slider. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was just kind of a good starting point for him. He gave up a home run to Keon Broxton and things like that. So I think the Angels are kind of looking for him to just kind of, get the release point for a lot of his pitches in his next outing. But I think it was a good first step for him and a good test against major league hitters, definitely.
Yeah, especially because you got to get some of that adrenaline out first. I'm sure there was a lot of that. I know he said he didn't have a lot of nerves, but maybe that's just the way he goes about it. He doesn't like to admit that he went out there, was pretty antsy and pretty amped up. So we'll have to see as his second, third, and fourth outings continue throughout the spring. But today he's going to make his Cactus League batting debut. He's going to DH hitting second. What is Mike Scioscia expecting to see from him there at the plate?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Angels aren't, expecting him to go out and hit, home runs or things like that yet. I think today is more of a matter of him kind of seeing some velocity from major league pitchers, getting his timing down, his rhythm. So I think that those are the main things that he's kind of looking to do today. He's expected to take at least 2 at-bats, perhaps a third. So, I think everyone's pretty curious to see how he does against major league pitching. He put on quite the show the other day at batting practice here. Clearing the batter's eye and launching another home run over the scoreboard in right field. So, I think it's going to be really exciting to see what he can do at the plate.
What are the fans like? What's the crowd like and the atmosphere there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a lot more crowded, I think, and a lot of the Angels' initial spring training games have definitely drawn much more media than you typically see this early in camp. Last year there were 3 beat writers who were kind of here every day, and, this year there's been about, 30 or 40 Japanese media who have been kind of accompanying us and watching Ohtani's, transition to the majors and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely been a lot more attention on Angels camp than usual. And I think all the attention is really warranted because, what Shohei Ohtani is trying to do is really unprecedented for modern baseball. So, we're all kind of fascinated and curious to see how he kind of, weathers this challenge.
Yeah, we saw some of those extra media members in that pretty iconic photo of Mike Trout carting around Shohei Ohtani in the golf cart there at spring training, which I thought was pretty awesome. Speaking of Mike Trout, by the way, we've heard he had such an epic offseason. He got married. His Eagles won the Super Bowl. He was a weatherman for a day or two. But we haven't heard so much of the baseball side of Mike Trout. So what is he thinking coming into the year? What are his goals? And what does he look for this team to achieve?
Yeah, well, I think that it's really funny because Mike Trout has kind of, been a little more under the radar than usual because of Ohtani's arrival. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't made his spring debut yet, but the Angels kind of expect to probably get him in the lineup here in the next couple of days. He said when he arrived to camp that one of his goals for the season is actually to kind of work on his defense. He said that he's seen some kind of defensive metrics who, haven't rated him that well. So he said that that's one of the things that he would like to work on this year. I'm kind of curious to see. I'm really actually looking forward to seeing him go through another full season. And hopefully he can keep up his consistent greatness. His action last year was kind of curtailed by that thumb injury that he had. I'm kind of ready to see him go through another full season because the Angels, I'm sure, are going to need him for sure, definitely.
Yeah, it's so funny, Maria. Would you ever have thought you would say Mike Trout flying under the radar? Probably not covering this team. But the one thing that's not flying under the radar is the fact that he's under contract for 3 more years, and Angels brass is already talking about potentially signing him to another extension. What's the likelihood that happens?
Yeah, I mean, owner Arden Marino was kind of asked about the possibility of another extension for Trout earlier this spring, and he kind of said that it's always on his mind. But there really isn't that much urgency for the Angels to get something done with Trout right now. I mean, he's still under contract through 2020, but it definitely is kind of important for them to kind of have those conversations and start thinking about that and planning for that. Trout was kind of asked about that as well, and he kind of said that that's not really his focus right now. His focus is playing baseball. But he did acknowledge that the success of the Angels will definitely kind of have an impact on his desire to stay with the organization long term. They've made the playoffs only once in his first 6 seasons here, and that ended in a sweep at the hands of the Royals in 2014. So I think that the Angels are, I think, kind of realizing that their window of taking advantage of Trout's prime is kind of shrinking. So I think that was one of the reasons why they were pretty aggressive this offseason and kind of adding new pieces like Ohtani, like Zach Cozart, like Ian Kinsler, because they're kind of hoping to have more success with Trout and take advantage of him while he's here. It remains to be seen if he'll be here beyond 2020, but I think the Angels are kind of, keeping their mindset is kind of really focused on the present right now. They kind of understand that all those things will kind of sort themselves out down the road.
Well, honestly, the success of this team is going to really hinge on the health of their rotation, especially Garrett Richards. I mean, he's only made 12 starts in the past 2 seasons, as you pointed out when you were writing about him. What is his plan to stay on the field this year?
Yeah, so he kind of talked about how in past years he's really gone hard with the lifting and tried to show up to spring training, as big as he can and really bulked up. But he said that this offseason, after struggling with injuries the last 2 years, he really tried to focus more on becoming more flexible while also maintaining his strength. So I think he's hoping that kind of change in training style will help keep him on the mound. And the Angels have also kind of talked about potentially going to a 6-man rotation. Which they hope, and they're hoping that kind of extra rest for all their starters will help keep their rotation intact and healthy for most of the season. So those are a few things that the Angels are kind of hoping will help keep Richards healthy and the rest of their starters as well.
All right, so let's talk about this 6-man rotation because, when we first heard about it, it was pretty interesting. They're trying to ease Ohtani's transition as well and, keep these guys healthy. But, a lot of pitchers, when you mention 6-man rotation, they say that's going to cut down on some of my time there. So I don't know if that's necessarily something that's beneficial to me. How is this rotation battle going to play out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Angels are still kind of weighing, the benefits of it. I mean, I feel like it's possible that they can end up doing a sort of hybrid rotation where some guys will pitch on normal 4 days rest and some guys will go on 5 days rest. I think that the real reason that this ended up being brought up this offseason was because Shohei Ohtani typically pitched only once a week when he was in Japan. So I think there's kind of a desire to kind of keep his pitching schedule somewhat the same as he kind of eases into some of the majors in his first year here. But Yeah, I mean, I feel like for the most part, the 5 guys who are kind of guaranteed to be in the rotation right now, anyways, it seems to be Garrett Richards, Shohei Ohtani, Andrew Heaney, Tyler Skaggs, and Matt Shoemaker, and then there are kind of 3 guys really who are in the mix for that, last 6th spot if the Angels decide to go that way, and that's Nick Tropiano, Parker Bridwell, and JC Ramirez. So, those last 3 guys are the ones who are really kind of fighting for the rotation spot this spring. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, and how the Angels end up handling the rest of their starters' rest as well.
All right, you also mentioned the addition of Zach Cozart this offseason to help out this lineup, but he is making an interesting transition defensively from shortstop to third base. He's never played third base before, so how is this transition going so far?
Yeah, so Cozart's been working with Eric Chavez, who was obviously a Gold Glove third baseman back in his day and is currently a special assistant in the Angels front office. So the two have kind of been working together, taking grounders. Cozart said that kind of the biggest challenge for him right now is just kind of adjusting to the different angles that he sees at third base. He hasn't gotten into a game yet, but I'm sure that will be happening somewhat soon. But yeah, I mean, I think that the Angels do shift quite frequently, so I think that more often than not, he will occasionally be essentially working as a shortstop. So I feel like he definitely is a good enough defender to handle that transition somewhat smoothly. So I don't think the Angels think that it'll be too big of an issue for him.
All right, sounds good. I'm curious as to if you recognized Albert Pujols when he showed up at camp, because he was about 10 to 15 pounds slimmer than he has been in a while here. And it's pretty cool. He shows up and he's saying, listen, first base, that's my gig, and that's something that I'm really going to work towards. How much first base is he going to play this season?
Yeah, I think that, his usage at first base is really going to depend on how much the Angels want to get Ohtani in at the DH spot. I think right now it'll probably be something around two or 3 times a week. But yeah, I mean, Albert looks really good this spring. He definitely looks a lot trimmer and leaner, which is, he kind of attributed to the fact that he had his first surgery-free offseason in 2 years. So he was really kind of able to focus on improving his conditioning over the offseason. And yeah, I mean, I saw him taking grounders at first base the other day, and he looks really good. He obviously has won a Gold Glove at that position in the past, and he enjoys playing first base. So I think that he's kind of looking forward to being able to go out there and play defense a lot more frequently than he has been able to the last couple of years.
All right, Angels taking on the Padres 3:10 p.m. Eastern today. That's going to be a lot of fun as Ohtani makes his spring batting debut. Maria, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the action.
Thank you.
All right, we asked you if you could have your own gym day with a baseball player. Who would it be and why? And you guys gave us some pretty awesome answers. I have not seen these, so bear with me. Brooks, I would pick Todd Helton, my all-time favorite ball player, just so I could hang out with him. Okay, I feel like a lot of people would answer that, just to be able to hang out with one of their favorite ball players of all time. Tim said I'd go to the gym with John Kruk, the former Padre and Philly. We could go to the gym long enough to say, screw this, and then go out for a beer and a pizza. Very nicely done, Tim. Dennis said, yes, Dennis and I are on the same page. Gym day with Bartolo Colon. Because I'm old and I don't want to work out. It's about kind of working out, maybe just hanging out there in the gym, the two of you, and then whatever the post-workout meal would be, because beans and rice and chicken and all that would be super delicious. Justin said Jake Arrieta, because the dude is jacked. Pretty cool. Renee said it would be Mike Trout, because I would like to see his work ethic. He does, and whatever he does to become the best player in baseball. That could be pretty cool. A lot of what he's doing nowadays is sitting on a bucket watching Shohei Ohtani and then driving around in a golf cart, by the way, so that could be fun too. Joanne said J.D. Gregorius, because he seems like a fun guy to hang out with at the gym. Yes, I would love that as well. And he said Eric Thames. Guy is a beast. Yes, you want to talk about work ethic. Adam McCalvey is always talking about how Eric Thames not only has one of the best work ethics, but this guy is so cerebral, he said, and he has an awesome off-season reading program where he really gets in the library and hits the books pretty hard, as well as the baseball. So pretty cool there. All right, thank you so much for all of your submissions. Really appreciate it. We're going to have a question of the day tomorrow, by the way, so if you didn't get your submission in today, you can definitely participate tomorrow. Our final story here is somebody who basically won the weekend, and we're going to go ahead and crown him our weekend winner. It's Dexter Fowler, who started off buying an immense amount of Girl Scout cookies, 50 boxes to be exact. And just important of the cookies was his message, because he said, pretty cool that my purchase is helping the next generation of girl entrepreneurs get an important taste of what it takes to be successful. He has 2 little girls, so this is extremely important to me. That message absolutely touched my heart. I thought that was awesome. And then I'm obsessed with golf. I sat on my couch all weekend long and watched Tiger Woods, and now I'm super jealous that I saw Dexter Fowler was able to be there. Cardinals were visiting the Mets in Port St. Lucie, and Dexter Fowler had the day off, so he went and took a U-turn to Palm Beach Gardens to stop by the Honda Classic and watch Tiger do what he does best, charge up the leaderboard. Unfortunately, Tiger did not win, but looking pretty good, and the fact that he was able to get a selfie there with Tiger Woods, even that much better. So you won the weekend, Dexter Fowler. Congratulations. Thank you, everyone, for watching us here on 1225 Live. Big thanks to Danny Wexaman, to Richard Justice, and to Maria Guardado for all helping us out today here on the show. By the way, there's tons of spring training action over on MLB.tv. Go check it out. Go sign up so you can see the action all season long. And we're going to talk about all that action, recap it tomorrow right here on the show, 1225 Live. So don't miss it. See you then, everyone. Take care.